Hi drummers, hope you're well. Quick video for you here, talking through The Freak by Chic, Trinity Rock and Pop Drums, Grade 4. This is a lovely little disco tune, and what this tune is all about is giving you some great disco grooves and some great vocabulary that you can use if you're playing in a disco or funk pop type of setting. One of the reasons to do these grades above all else, I think, is it gives you a great set of skills that you can then go off into the world and use, right, and have a whale of a time being a musician. This is a great example of a tune that's going to give you some cool skills in a very particular style. Hasn't got much in the way of drum fills to worry about, at least drum fills that you need to learn, but yeah, it's all about the grooves, man, and putting them together. People often say to me, what do drummers do after grade 8? And my answer is almost always when they go off and be musicians. Like, once you've done that, you know, the idea is you've got a great set of skills that you can adapt to certain situations that you're playing in. You've got a good knowledge of different musical styles. So it's way more than just being able to pass an exam and get a certificate, which is cool, useful, maybe. And if you're, it's way more than just learning specific songs. It's about acquiring a set of skills that you can then go off and use, man. And this is a really good example, this tune, of a great set of skills. You can use these grooves all over the place, maybe do your own thing with them a little bit, play around with them after you've learnt the tune, have some fun. Right, intro groove is a basic 2-bar phrase. There's a little bit of variation at the start and the end of the intro, I'm going to leave out for now, but the basic 2-bar phrase, let's take bars 3 and 4, are going to go like this. Basic rhythm there, 1 and 2 and a 3E and 4 and a 1E and 2 and a 3E and 4 and. So if you're going to read this, you need to know the difference between a crotchet, a quaver and a semi-quaver as usual. An eighth note, of course, note, 8th note, 16th note. The big figures here are 1 and, 2 8th notes at the start, 2 and an 8th and 2 16ths, like the word blackcurrant, 3E and, so 2 16ths, 1 8th, like the word motorbike, and again on beat 4, 4 and 8th, 2 16ths. In the second bar, bar 4, 1 E and, again motorbike, 2 and blackcurrant. Beat 3, 3 E and, motorbike again, and 4 and coffee at the end. Now what we tend to do, guys, getting this started, is just play sticks only, so we'll leave the kick out, and actually probably leave the open hi-hat out as well. Get the feel for that first. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 and. That's the basic 2-bar phrase for the intro. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can probably see here, I'm using my lead hand. I'm right-handed to go to the back to the hi-hat each time. Basically, my lead hand is landing on the beat each time, and it's coming to hit the snare as well. So right, 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 right. And I really would recommend doing that. Keep it as simple as you can. Lead hand landing on the beat. So hitting the hi-hat on the 1 and the 3 and the snare on the 2 and the 4. Basically single stroke roll. Single stroke roll on the 16th, anyway, the 8th notes I'm playing is right, right. Hope that's cool. You can add in the kick. And then for the open hi-hat, well, it's just a case of, hopefully you've done a bit of this by grade 4, opening the hi-hat on the and of beat 1, on the and of beat 3, and then again and of beat 1, and of beat 3. Here we go. Play it round and round, take your time. You can always add in the open hi-hats one at a time if you like, as in just play the first one and loop it and loop it. And as ever with these tunes and these grooves, such an important point, make friends with it for a bit. You don't have to put the music on straight away and perform the song immediately, far from it. Just get to know these grooves a little bit. Obviously listen to the demo version in particular for reference, but sit with those grooves, play it around slow, get a feel for it, get your metronome on, loop it, really get to that point, just that little bit where your hands and feet are doing it automatically before you worry too much about going full pelt with the music. Little variations are right at the start, we come in with and 1 on the kick. So it's going to go 2, 3, 4 and 1. Which is like how the kick part normally goes, but right at the beginning of the song, and 1, 2 kicks on their own, we come in with the open hi-hat. So very beginning of the tune, 1, 2, 3, 4. The other little variation is when we do a drum fill going into the verse right at the end, no big deal here. This is just 4 and a black current, an 1/8 and 2/16. It's also got a kick which is in the usual place on the and of beat 4. I'm going to play here from bar 5. Here we go. So 4 and a 1 at the end. Cool. Now the good news is the verse groove is really similar. It's just that you're dropping in a few more kicks. Here's the groove from the verse. I'll go slow. Anyway, you're going to continue similar after the first few bars. So if you make a few changes, that's fine. I wouldn't say it's a drum solo. Don't go crazy throwing in loads of fills, but small variations is fine. Now the basic idea when we come at the top of the verse is, well, kind of like before, you've got the crash at the start, which changes things a little bit. So let's have a little look at bars 3 and 4 of the verse. That's bars 11 and 12 overall. We'll go like this. It's really similar to the intro, isn't it? It's just that there's that extra kick going on every now and again. So the kick part is more regular. So again, what you could do is play just the hand part. This is bars 11 and 12, just the hands. You could play the hands and the kick. And then bit by bit, add in the open hi-hats. In the end, that will be. Absolutely classic disco feel, like I said at the start. It's so much fun to have that one up your sleeve, man. If there's a bit of disco going on, you're at a jam. Great groove, so much bigger than just being able to play this song. It's all about having some great grooves up your sleeve. I'm going to continue similar, yeah, again, not huge variations, but you can just have some fun with that. You might change it up to sometimes a full set of 16ths. You might sometimes just play 1/8 notes instead of a 1 and. I'm definitely not going to tell you what to play here, just have some fun with it, man. Groove around on that groove, get your click on, just play round and round and round on it, try some cool variations. Nothing too crazy, man. No big changes, I would say, to the kick and the snare part there. The next little thing that happens is right at the end of the first page, bar 24, where it says 16 in brackets, you just got 40 and 2/16, 1/8. Little motorbike there at the end of that bar. So 1, 2, 3. I'll play from 21. Crash into the first time section with the one over the top. It's all the same type of groove as the intro, right? So here we go, 25A. Okay, a little drum fill at the end there. This is bar, I guess, 28A. This is going to go 1E. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to go 1E and So motorbike with an open hi-hat on the end. This is the last bar of the first line, second page. 1 E and that figure from grade 3 here on beat 2 that goes 2 E and A. So the first and the last of 4/16 notes, 2 E and A. So the first half of this bar, 28A, 1 E and A, and then 3 E and motorbike, and then 4 and blackcurrant with a kick on the and. 4 and. Second half of this bar. Okay, this is bar 28A, first half. Second half. Whole thing. Take your time with it. It won't, again, that's probably unlikely if you're hitting grade 4 for the first time to be one that just flows with the music instantly. Take your time, man. I'm going to play the whole first time section from 25A. And then we go all the way back to the top of the verse, all the way back to bar 9 because of the repeat marks, right? We then play all the way through again. The second time section with the 2 over it, 25B. Well, it's really, really similar, isn't it? All the same stuff. Here it comes, 25B. Now, at the end there, 28B, we've got 1 E and 2, 1 E and 2 at the start of that bar. Then 3 E and motorbike. Phrased as 2 snare drums and a kick. It's actually got the sticking written on the music here. Right, left, kick. And then black currant 4 and at the end. So this is 28B, first half. Second half. Put that together. Now remember, there's always a great idea is to drill these drum fill moments. So how about, let's do 27B and 28B. Here we go. Sit on those, round and round and round. I'll go for the whole second time section now, from 25B. Again, you could loop that, play it round and round, it's all good. Now the bass solo, quite soft here, goes down to MP. One of the things they talk about in the notes at the start of this piece in the book, which you should always read because it has killer information about how to do well. It says one of the big things they're looking for here is drive, as in like forward momentum with your groove at lower volumes, man. Keep this one down. Bass solo. So nice and soft. You're playing upbeat or offbeat hi-hat quavers here, all on the ands. The kick and the snare are basically doing 1, 2, 3, 4, except for the end where it does that very familiar thing that we're used to in this song by now of going bop, bop, and 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's bar 29. Here's bar 30. It's like a really classic disco feel, that upbeat, offbeat on the hi-hat only. That's a really great groove to get into. Just like I was saying at the start, much bigger than being able to play just the bass solo part from this tune. That's a disco groove that goes through the ages, man, and will help you all over the place for disco, for funk, for rock and pop even, all over the place. And man, that's such a great one. Things like, people often come into these sessions and they say, can we learn Uptown Funk, you know, Mark Ronson, Bruno Mars, and the section at the end, that bit, it's offbeat ride, man. And if you've done a little bit of work ahead of time, like you've done your grades basically, this sort of stuff, worked on those sort of independent skills, man, that can work so well. So hi-hat offbeats. This is the bass solo. And yeah, if you need to, one at a time, like there's nothing wrong with this. Every great drummer in the world has done this at some point, gone right, bass drum, hi-hat, snare drum, hi-hat, and so on. If you need to, just program it in. Show your brain and your hands and your feet, one note at a time. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing to do. Next up is 16th notes, bar 37. This is your classic 16th note feel. Hopefully you're cool with a 16th note feel, like played a single stroke roll on the hi-hat by now. If not, just search on YouTube, Mike Barnes drums, 16th note feel. You'll see videos about that. And yeah, same that kick right at the end of the second bar on the and of beat 4. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So loads and loads of repeats of that. It's continued similar again, so you can put in the odd variation. I don't think it's going to be anything huge, really. If you listen to Chic, which I've done lots of, you know, it's all about keeping a great groove going, man. I really wouldn't go too far off piece there with the variations. And then a little drum fill of your own making, which is always fun. Just before the DS al coda, you see where we are now, 5th line down, 2nd page. Dal segno al coda, or dar segno maybe. So we go back here at that point, all the way to the verse again. It's just another way of saying go back to the verse. So you do a little drum fill until you see the to coda. So that's at the bottom of the 2nd page after your little drum fill. And then we're going to go to the coda, which is the last bit. So from the beginning of the song, you're going to play the intro, the verse, the first time section with the 1 over it. You're going to go back because of the repeat mark to do another verse. Then the 2nd time section with the 2 over it. You're then going to do the bass solo, which continues with the 16th note feel. You then hit DSL coda, which takes you back to yet another verse until you see to coda at the end of the 1st page, at which point you jump to the coda, which is the last little bit at the end. The coda is basically the intro again. Here's the coda from 45. And then at the last line, what happens is we drop to a 4 on the floor, as in the bass drum playing every single quarter note. And I've got to say, when I play this song live at gigs, which I actually end up doing quite a lot, I tend to play 4 on the floor all the way through, honestly. I don't know if that's correct to the Chic original or not, but it just seems to work, man. I tend to play kind of all the way through, man. It's a party, just, you know, I've probably said on this channel loads of times, I love the 4 on the floor thing. I think it just drives music along so well. It gets everyone, it's just instinctive, it's primal for everybody, it just gets everybody going. So I tend to do it all the way through. In this version, it's only at the end, so if you're doing this for exam, you know, for your exam, do it just at the end. It goes. So 49 is the same groove as you're used to from like the verse, I guess now, but the kick is every single quarter note, and it's even got the extra kick at the end and 1. So here's 49 and 50. You might need to take those 2 bars and loop them a little bit, get a feel for it. Last 2 bars. Right, so at the end, let's do 2 bars from the end. I guess this is 49, 50, 51. Bar 52, 1 E and 2. It's the first half with a kick on beat 2. And the fill to finish is. So beat 3 on the mid-tom. This is that grade 3 figure, dotted, quaver, and then semi-quaver. So this is 3 of 3 E and 3 and Okay, so far, 1 E and 2, 3 E and We've then got 4 and 1, 2 8th notes from the quarter note. 4 and 1. Those last 2 notes are accented, the little arrowhead thing over the top, louder than the others. So second half of that bar into beat 1, so 3 and 1. I would definitely recommend sticking those last 2 bars on a loop, like as in that, the very last 2 bars, including that beat 1 at the end. And so we're talking bar 49, 50, 51, 52 and 53 on a loop. 2 and 3 and again. 2 and 3, and last time. Last thing I'm going to do is the whole coda. Here we go. Hope that all makes a bit of sense. That is The Freak by Chic, an absolute classic. Please remember, it's way bigger than just being able to play these songs. When people say things like, oh, I'm only going to do 3 tunes because I only need 3 to do the exam, well, it's kind of missing the point, mate, in my opinion. Like, yeah, sure, it's cool to do the exam if you're in a hurry, fine, but the point above all else of doing these is to take in some great information. This is some seriously rock solid quality information in terms of like disco grooves and things that give things a really authentic disco feel. So have some fun with it. Once you've got one of the grooves going, just play it around, stick on some Chic, man, groove it along, have a bit of fun with it, and yeah, maybe change it up a little bit, do your own thing with it. I see this as like the starting point for a whole journey into like that whole disco funk thing, which is just massive, man. And if, like me, you end up spending, when you've done your grades, you end up spending a lot of time, or even before you've done your grades, down the line doing some gigs, you know, playing parties, weddings, like any event where people are dancing with those sort of bands, function bands. These sort of grooves are rock solid. These are your go-to grooves, man, and these will keep you in work, basically. These grooves, they pay my mortgage, man. Every weekend I'm off playing these gigs, laying down these sort of grooves. And if you can do it and make people want to dance and feel good, you are in business, man, literally. So thanks so much. Any questions, give us a shout. See you soon.